I don't know what a best director is, except that someone that stands in the same space with the best actors. I feel that they do the work, and I get to watch. And nothing's better than that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Let's Take Five, the podcast where we look at one of the greats of cinema and discuss their excellence and range. My name is Eric Martindale.
I'm Austin Luger.
And today we're doing our wrap-up episode of Robert Altman. The previous films we cover were MASH, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, Nashville, Shortcuts, and A Prairie Home Companion. And today we're doing our wrap-up episode where we will reveal the next five we are covering and sort of recap the previous films that we covered. And we might talk a little bit about Robert Altman's canon as well. And we'll reveal our top five, and we'll rank these films by the end of it. Okay, so Robert Altman was okay. He made a few good films. He made a few good films, right? That's it. We can wrap it up. The next five.
No.
Okay, what do you have to say, man?
We got crosstalk.
Okay, it was your five.
Yeah.
It was your five. You picked him. Why?
Did I say my name?
What?
I'm Austin Luger.
Okay, cool. It's Austin.
No, like, basically, I mean, my girlfriend keeps joking, like, if someone just, like, talks for a long time in a movie, I'm going to like it.
You're going to...
Robert Altman films, everyone talks at the same time.
Yeah, okay.
It's the whole movie. It's great.
There's a movie on our next five that we're going to cover that you're going to absolutely love.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Go ahead.
Hope it's in a language I know. But this was a lot of fun because it was, like many fights we do, I loved revisiting it, and it just made me want to keep watching more Altman. Like, maybe we should reconsider the podcast and do Take 10. Like, I want to just keep going for more of his, because I'm just, aside from Shortcuts, which went down a little bit on my mind, they all just went up in rewatch, to the point where, like, I don't know, I think MASH and Nashville are 5 stars, and McCabe and Prairie Home Companion are super high 4.5 stars. And Shortcuts is a very pleasant 4. Like, this is a really... I'm very happy with this 5 of things I watched.
Yeah, it might be, all things considered, it may be the best overall. I mean, I think Shortcuts is a stinker for the most part compared to the other ones, but I couldn't rate McCabe and Mrs. Miller higher. Like, I think that movie's, flawless. So,
and that would be my 4th. That's insane.
That's your 4th,
that's
right?
Insane.
And that is crazy. And I think I would be interested to see, because Robert Altman's not your favorite director, but he's a beloved director, and you like him quite a bit. I like him quite a bit. I'd be interested to see someone who's like thinks about Altman the way I think about Kurosawa, and just see what their opinion is on his films at large, but these 5 films, how they would rate them.
Yeah.
The only basis for comparison I have, and I'm a huge fan of Roger Ebert, and I love the Great Movies books, is that McCabe and Mrs. Miller, he says, is the Robert Altman perfect film. So that's the only person I know that I have agreement on that. But if you just talk to the average Joe on the streets about McCabe and Mrs. Miller, they're not going to know what the hell you're talking about. They're not going to know that film. They're going to know MASH, because of the TV show, maybe, but they're going to know MASH, and they'll probably know Nashville. So it's incredible that someone could achieve this much and consistently stay at an art house level, for the most part, other than like Popeye, stay at an art house level for so long and never really go beyond that. I mean, at some point, Alfred Hitchcock is mainstream. Okay, that doesn't happen with Robert Altman, really.
No, he's kind of the film buffs like him. I mean, he has, I think, perhaps his most mainstream film in his later years was actually Gosford Park. Like, I know a lot of people who saw and really liked Gosford Park. But I'm actually curious to kind of go through his films right now and just kind of see, like, what this guy did, because it's such a crazy career. Like many directors in the 70s, he started off doing various TV episodes, of, like, Combat and Route 66 and Bonanza. But, MASH was his big breakthrough. Then there's a film called Brewster McCloud, which I hear some, like, buffs, like, reconsider. I have not seen it yet. Going on to McCabe and Miller the next year. Images has some fans, but The Long Goodbye, I almost wanted to cover. Have you ever heard of this film?
Yeah, I've heard of the film, sure.
So it's an adaptation of Raymond Chandler, one of his novels. And Raymond Chandler, he wrote The Big Sleep, famous Bogart vehicle. Altman, to the annoyance of half the mystery community, I've noticed, decided to take the sensibilities of the main character and put him in the 70s and just make him pathetic. So it's Elliot Gould,
Of course it is.
as the detective, who spends most of the time wondering where his cats are, and like clearly like spending like coupons to buy milk. And he's supposed to be the super cool detective that Bogart was in the 30s, while then just doing the exact same plot. I think it's a really interesting movie. I don't really remember Thieves Like Us, California Split. You got Elliot Gould again with some gambling con stuff, super fun. Nashville, Three Women.
Three Women was one that I thought maybe we should cover. That was kind of the one I thought we should throw in here. I mean, it was between like that and The Player.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, I'm satisfied. I mean, I'm happy we covered Shortcuts. I like that big gap, and then hitting, an early 90s film between Nashville and Shortcuts. That's it was a 17-year gap or something like that. And then you have
Popeye.
Prairie, well, yeah, Popeye. But you have in Prairie Home Companion. I'm really happy we did decide to do that movie, because that movie went up so much to me from previous viewing. I think that's great. So I'm happy we covered them. We can only cover 5 films, so I'm really satisfied with this selection, I think.
Do you know the play Streamers?
No, I don't.
So this is a movie made in the 80s. 4 young soldiers waiting to be shipped to Vietnam deal with racial tension and their own intolerance when one soldier reveals he's gay. David Rabe, R-A-B-E. I don't know. I don't know. You're the theater guy. I didn't know how much this one's hit the circles. But that was like an interesting one he made with Matthew Modine and David Alan Grier.
I'm sure it was a very popular play at that time.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
It didn't...
It sounds like a Robert Altman plot.
Yeah, it definitely does. It just didn't strike me that much, but the one that I really love that like no one's seen, but it's on like Criterion just on DVD, like they haven't bothered to like put on Blu-ray, is a film called Secret Honor. And it is about Nixon. It's a one-man movie. Philip Baker Hall plays Nixon. It's just him pacing around the White House the day before he's going to resign. He's just talking into audio tapes. It's like 90 minutes of like masterclass acting.
And then you see Philip Baker Hall pop up in P.T. Anderson movies, which connects that John C. Reilly dot that we had earlier. And Maya Rudolph, but that's his wife, so that kind of doesn't count. P.T. Anderson's wife. Yeah. But, and Philip Baker Hall, by the way, just because we're probably not going to talk about him again, maybe until we do P.T. Anderson, that guy's still alive.
That's crazy.
I know, that's crazy. He's got to be in his 90s. But anyway.
He's awesome.
Yeah, no, I love Phil Baker Hall. He's in The Rock. I mean, come on. I think that they're really 5 fine films. I think it was probably, oddly, our most controversial pick as far as 5 films is like, oh no, you should have done The Player, you should have done Three Women, you should have done whatever, and probably kick Prairie Home Companion off. But I don't think I've been more satisfied with the pillar of the 5 that we've done, except for people that don't have as many movies out there. But yeah, no, it was really good. It was really good stuff.
There was one that I wanted to watch it like last October. He did a TV show. A miniseries TV show called Tanner 88, a mockumentary following the campaign of a politician who slowly becomes more corrupt. I really liked it at the time, and just because last year's elections was exhausting from every angle, I was like, I need a really good like election thing, and I got it from Half Price Books, but didn't have time to watch it. But it was a really good thing he made, and they even did a follow up with it like 10, 15 years later, Tanner on Tanner, where the characters kind of interviewed about the things that happened during that.
Yeah, it's just so surprising to me that he was able to choose these projects and stay so.
How do you get hired?
I know, and would just stay so off the grid, so to speak. As far as being, I mean, he's in the pantheon of great directors, but like I said, eventually something gets popular. And people latch onto it. And that just really happened with Robert Altman. Like Wes Anderson resisted that for a long time. but then Moonrise Kingdom came out, and then that stopped being a thing too. So like eventually you kind of get picked up and pulled in, and you become mainstream. And I'm not saying you sell out your audience, or sell out to what you do. That's not what you do. That's not what Hitchcock did. That's not what Altman did. But it's just interesting that, Anderson did. But it's just interesting that he stayed in that niche and never really got out of it. Like, I could talk to someone I know who's probably seen a lot of movies and maybe only seen one Robert Altman film.
I mean, he made Gosford Park in 2000, ton of Oscar nominations. I believe it won for screenplay for Gillian Fellows, who went on to make Downton Abbey. What does Altman do next? He makes nothing for 3 years, and when he does, he makes like a super low-budget movie about ballet starring Neve Campbell from Scream, which I would describe as, it's like Black Swan, but nothing happens. So it's just...
well, Shortcuts is like Magnolia, but...
No, way more happens in Shortcuts than The Company. The Company movie that right now, I swear to God, I can't remember one scene from that movie. And I saw him like, yeah, got a Robert Altman film I haven't seen. 2 hours later.
I've seen it.
Ballet seems nice.
So we'll get to who we're picking after this, but let's go through our 5 list. I can't remember. Do you lead off because you picked the 5, or do I?
Well, I mean, we forget to do it every other time, so it's hard to make a standard.
I'll just go ahead. So, of the 5 films that we covered, I would have as my number 1 McCabe and Mrs. Miller. No surprise there. As my number 2, I would have Nashville. This is where it gets weird. For most people. 3 for me would be Prairie Home Companion, 4 would be MASH, and a distant 5 would be Shortcuts. And going on your 5-star scale, I think 1 through 4 there are 5-star films, if we're basing it on you, the way you rate. Shortcuts probably be a 3 to me. Yeah, no, that's where I'd end up. So yeah, number 1 McCabe, 2 Nashville, 3 Prairie Home Companion, 4 MASH. That's gonna piss people off, and 5 Shortcuts.
I don't think we have a very angry audience.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, Prairie Home Companion in particular. Like, I hate to do this, but I think if we were going off IMDb rating, this has got to be the lowest.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what it is, but it's just got to be.
And mine, I'd go MASH, Nashville, Prairie Home Companion, McCabe, Miss Miller, and Shortcuts. But those are, again, like yours, those first 4 are damned incredible.
Yeah.
And, I mean, at any second could be a 5 or 4.5. And honestly, like, I feel if I watch Nashville again, it's going to go to number 1 because, like, I feel like I keep. It's like an archaeological.
So anyway, your number 1 was MASH.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like right now, MASH, I can watch every day, be happy, and find new things. But when I find new things for MASH, I'm finding new small things. I think every time I watch Nashville, I uncover a way bigger part of the skeleton that's in the ground. Dinosaur skeleton.
And I kind of feel that way about Nashville to McCabe and Mrs. Miller. I feel like that one day could eclipse McCabe and Mrs. Miller. But that, I can't wait to watch these films again one day when we get around to it, or show them to somebody who hasn't seen them. So I want to talk about a little game I played. Is it okay?
Yeah, the game you played with my heart.
Yes. So I watched 2 very troubling films a while back. There were two directors I was considering, and we kind of hinted at Nashville, this sort of game I was playing. So going from here, I wanted to go philosophical, I guess. I wanted to spend a lot of time pondering, which is interesting because I think our next episode is going to be our shortest, because I don't have that much to say about it, but we'll get to that. So I decided between Andrei Tarkovsky, the Russian great director, and Ingmar Bergman, the great Swedish director, household names to any film buff out there. I had not as yet had seen Cries and Whispers, which obviously it's right there in that pantheon of, like, if you want to watch Bergman, you got to see this film. I mean, obviously you have Wild Strawberries, Seven Seal, and in my case, Scenes from a Marriage and Persona, sure, but you got to see Cries and Whispers, and I had yet to see that one, in part because I'd heard it was so upsetting. For Tarkovsky, I'd seen a few of his films. I had not seen Stalker, which was just re-released on Blu-ray Criterion. So I was going to watch these films, these huge, meaty, nuanced, hardcore dramas, One also being the bane of Austin's existence, which is Cries and Whispers. Let me just ask you, I'm interviewing you. Austin, is Cries and Whispers the most upsetting movie you've ever seen? Top 5.
Yeah. I mean, Solo is gross.
But Solo's not a good movie.
No. Cries and Whispers, I had to review on the Immortals, which meant I had to watch it again. And I winced the entire 100 minutes.
And we will be covering that movie someday. I ended up going with Stalker. The game was which movie did I like more, and I liked Stalker more because I don't have the constitution to talk about Cries and Whispers for 30 minutes. After I finished Cries and Whispers, this is my brief review, and again, I'm running a film podcast with Austin. Austin being the main chief here, he's seen everything. Having not seen Cries and Whispers, pretty embarrassing thing to admit, but watching that film felt like I was watching something I shouldn't be. That's what it felt like. And without ever feeling expletive. It was just a little too heavy to go there. So I'm not ready to go there. We'll go there one day. Andre go ahead.
I want to talk about this game you played.
Let's talk about the game.
You decided that this was going to be a thing you were going to do. And you called me to tell me that you've bought these two films. These two films, Chuckles and Silly. And decided you're going to watch them. Whatever one you liked more, that's what we're going to do. I'm like, oh, great. We're going to either be watching 15 hours of Russian drama or godless Swedish cinema. I'm not saying that it's taboo. I'm saying that the films repeatedly tell you there's no God.
Yeah.
One of which is the most painful film that I've ever seen. The issue of this game was, besides okay, I guess my next one is just dog videos for a top 5, is that you didn't do it in a weekend. This game of yours took a week and a half of me going so have you watched it yet? And you go, nah, we'll see which one you get to watch soon.
And he keeps warning me. He's like, this is the one movie I can't watch or whatever. And then it was this funny moment. I texted him during the middle of the film, Cries and Whispers, and I said, Jesus Christ, Austin, why the fuck did you let me watch this? And he said, to which he replied, I couldn't have been less subtle. That is a hard movie. And I said, after this, I'm going to pull the Blu-ray out and I'm going to wrap a cinder block around it and toss it into Lake Michigan. And then he said, do you like the film? And I said, yeah, it's one of the greatest films ever made.
Yeah, so the problem is, then you went to bed and didn't tell me which one you picked.
Yeah, I know. I still left it open. So I went with Stalker, not because I think it's a better film, although it may be. It's a little... It's hard to say this about Stalker. Is a little more light than Cries and Whispers. So I picked Stalker. I enjoyed Stalker. I cannot wait to talk about Stalker. It's one of my favorite scripts, foreign scripts in particular, just because I have less of them. Scripts that I've seen that I absolutely enjoyed and loved. So you're off the hook for now. We're going to be covering Andrei Tarkovsky. The 5 films we are going to be covering are 1. Ivan's Childhood, 2. Andrei Rublev, 3. Solaris, 4. The Mirror, and 5. Stalker. And I can't wait for this 5. I mean, Tarkovsky's always been a director that's really intrigued me. I love Solaris. The Mirror is one of the most beautiful films I have ever seen. Stalker is one of the best scripts ever. It's bloated, but in a good way. It's you could have probably cut out an hour of dialogue, but I like that it's there. I don't mind it. I love watching these characters talk, and that's, of course, based on a beloved Russian novel, Roadside Picnic. So can't wait to do that. Tarkovsky directed, 7 films in his life, and is one of the most famous foreign directors ever, so that should say something.
I am intimidated going into this one, I feel.
Well, you spend so much time watching his films not knowing what's going on, deliberately.
Right. And we've done Andrei Rublev on The Immortals less than a year ago, I think. I can't remember. And that's a 3.5-hour film, and I finished that going, that was incredibly made. Can I properly do this? And so I'm a little intimidated going in, but I know that I get to experience or re-experience art that, you can tell a Tarkovsky scene. You can do a 3-minute segment
absolutely.
that is muted and go, I know who made this. And it's not because he is sweeping around an American flag with a helicopter like Michael Bay. Like these like the visual gimmicks of like, oh, it's
there's a certain melodic beauty about it that you know with him. And I would just say, I mean, for a guy that has only made 7 films, I think it's 7, something like that.
It's under 10.
He has to be one of the most. His canon has to be one of the most dense. These are dense, heavy, deep dramas. We're going to be talking about deep subjects here, more so than I think any person we've covered so far.
I've never read Tolstoy. I gotta like get into this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like serious debates, the concepts of love, the concepts of coveting, like deeper things that anyone tuning in for the Tarkovsky podcast are probably going to think we're pretty out of touch. But we're leading off with Ivan's childhood, which is actually not that dense at all. No, it's just beautiful.
That is the ramp leading up to the museum.
Absolutely. And that's what it is. So we'll start off with that. Might be one of our shorter podcasts that we do, particularly because I just don't have a lot to say about it.
We should go an hour. We should just do it. I think we've teased it 2 episodes now. We're just let's just go an hour.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think the longest one of this will be Solaris and Stalker. I have a billion things to say about those. So
are like 4 or 5 of these on Filmstruck.
I think I'm pretty sure that The Mirror is, and the reason why I'm only focusing on The Mirror right there, I'm sure Solaris is too. I think Solaris is the most popular film.
I think Andre Rublev is.
The Mirror...
I watched Ivan's childhood on it, so yes.
Yeah, okay. So, and I think Stalker is. I think they all might be.
All right, so...
yeah, so they're all on Filmstruck, but the Mirror is of more particular interest, because that's not an easy movie to find, actually. So that might be your easiest way to actually find it, because it's not on Criterion, and it's not... I think there's no Blu-ray of it. There's DVD of it, which is going to cost you like $30, and I'm sure it's going to be some crappy DVD. So,
that's actually how I got it from the Ball State Library.
Which is a shame, because it's such a beautiful movie.
Yeah, I watched. They're starting to soften that stigma of mine. I forget what it's about, but I remember the shots. But also, it was not a very good DVD, because it was the only thing available.
Right. So, anyway, we're not sponsored by Filmstruck, but if you're going to get it, this would be the one to get it with.
But also, we'll be happy to.
Yeah, we would totally be.
Yeah.
And then maybe we could put some sway and say, hey, put some Robert Altman films on Filmstruck. Come on.
Yeah.
The ones that people want to see.
They give us money, we immediately start arguing with them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, we don't have that kind of stuff.
All right, you son of a bitch. Now that we're at the table.
Hey, I subscribe to Filmstruck because Austin does.
Yes.
So, anyway.
We just lost that sponsor.
So, anyway, do you want to take us out of here?
Yep. We'd love to hear what you think about Robert Altman. Which one of these films struck you the most? If you didn't even watch the films, which one are you now most interested in seeing? Which one of his films did we not cover that you really have a great passion for? Maybe you love The Player. Maybe you love Gosford Park. Maybe I want to rewatch Gosford Park. That's the one I really meant to before this wrap up.
That would be Three Women, I think.
I like that too. So good. Yeah. I mean, it's The Company. It's ballet. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they go to ballet practice, and then the next day they go to ballet practice. It's great. Yeah, so go there. Artmore.com. We'll be back on Friday with an episode of Ivan's Childhood. Until then, like I said, leave a comment. The Immortals is there. You'll know what they did next episode. Yeah. And other podcasts are there. Where are you?
I'm at Constant Aversion. That's the YouTube channel. I heard it a million times. Working on a Chrono Trigger script. I'm literally filming me play the entire game, so we'll have a lot of ways we can go with the editing, because I'll have every scene. Chrono Trigger is one of the greatest video games ever made. It was made released for the Super Nintendo in 1995. And talk about deep subjects. If Tarkovsky did a video game, it'd probably be Chrono Trigger. So we'll be on that.
And Adam Lord, who does the music for this show. You could find him at songsbyalord.com. And fun fact, we told him today the next subject is Russian. So I don't know what it's going to sound like.
Yeah, I have no idea what that's going to sound like. It might just sound cool with some Russian in the background. I don't know.
It might be. So that's the major reason to tune in on Friday for our shortest or longest episode.
I'll be tuning in for that reason.
Good.
Yep.
Another download. Sweet, sweet downloads. Anyway, thank you all for listening. You all are truly wonderful, and we'll catch you in just a few days. I'm Austin.
I'm Eric.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
I got a lot to say, and they've got a clock on me. I want to thank everybody for this, the Academy. I was really honored and moved to accept this award. When the news first came to me about it, I was caught kind of off guard. I always thought this type of award meant that it was over. And then it dawned on me that I was busy in rehearsals in a play that I'm doing in London right now. It opened last night, Arthur Miller's last play, Resurrection Blues. I was doing an interview for my new film that I just finished, Prairie Home Companion, which will come out in the summer, and I realized that it's not over. Of course, I was happy and thrilled to accept this award, and I look at it as a nod to all of my films, because to me, I've just made one long film. And I know some of you have liked some of the sections, and others anyway, it's all right. And I want to thank all of the people that have worked on all of my pictures so hard, and the brilliant actors, the amazing crews, and I can't name them all, so I'm going to name a doctor that's taking care of me, Jody Kaplan. So she represents everybody, and who supported me and made it possible. I've always said that making a film is like making a sandcastle at the beach. You invite your friends and you get them down there and you build this beautiful structure, and several of you, and then you sit back and watch the tide come in, have a drink, watch the tide come in, and the ocean just takes it away. And that sandcastle remains in your mind. Now, I've built about 40 of them, and I never tire of it. No other filmmaker has gotten a better shape than I have. I'm very fortunate in my career. I've never had to direct a film I didn't choose or develop. I love filmmaking. It has given me an entree to the world and to the human condition, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Finally, I would like to thank my family, which are all right there, all of them, almost, for their love and support and through the years. And most importantly, I want to thank and applaud my wife, Catherine Reed Altman, without whom I wouldn't be here today. I love you, Trixie. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. I'm here, I think, under kind of false pretenses. And I think I have to become straight with you. 11 years ago, I had a heart transplant, a total heart transplant. I got the heart of, I think, a young woman who was about in her late 30s. And so by that kind of calculation, you may be giving me this award too early, because I think I've got about 40 years left on it. And I intend to use it. Thank you very much. Thank you.